These Election 2021 candidate interviews are sponsored by Edmonds College, Office Tech, and James Russell PLLC, Certified Public Accountants and Business Advisors.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Teresa Whipple, publisher of Lynnwood Today, and I'm here with Linda Jones, President and CEO of the Lynnwood Chamber of Commerce. And we're pleased to welcome you to these 2021 Lynnwood City Council and Mayoral Forums. And we are here today with Christine Frizzell, who is running for Mayor of Lynnwood. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this, taking time to inform the public. Appreciate that.
You bet. And so we're going to start with a relatively simple question for you. And that is, what are the qualities that would make you a good mayor for Lynnwood?
Number one, I have 40 years of accounting experience, and not working for the same company, but working for many different organizations, many types of companies, and as well as a relatively decent tax practice. And all of those bring into account my number skills. And I think that that's a huge part of what I bring to the mayor's office. The other thing is collaboration. We face a lot of issues, whether it's homelessness, our streets, our parks, and those are not just problems that Lynnwood faces. They are issues that are faced by most every city in the greater Seattle area. And I think that we can't solve those problems in Lynnwood. We can't solve them by ourselves. And I don't want to solve them by ourselves. We need collaboration. And so I have already established partnerships with a number of the mayors and our representatives in Olympia. And we're already talking about these issues. And I just really appreciate their confidence in me and their endorsement of me as we move forward. I think those are going to be the two things. Anything can be solved with collaboration. And I'm ready to take that on.
Very good. Thank you so much, Linda.
Welcome. Lynnwood has been cited as a model for regional growth. How does Lynnwood grow while still retaining the character of its existing neighborhoods?
So for a long time, Lynnwood was called a bedroom community. And that meant that people lived here, but they didn't work here. And that has changed over time. But in the meantime, we have large single family neighborhoods. Now, my grandparents, so just a couple generations ago, they came across country on a covered wagon, and they settled in Washington and ended up buying 10 acres off of 148th and had an egg farm. That was only 2 generations ago. When my parents then bought a house, we live on, I think, 1/10 of an acre. And that seems like a lot of acreage to a lot of people now. My kids wonder why we have such a big backyard. So we need to have a housing that is good for each of us that live here, whether that is 1/10 of an acre or, heaven forbid, a 1/2 an acre in Lynnwood. I'm not sure that we have sites that are so large. But there's a lot of people that they just want to live in an apartment or a condo, and we need to make room for those. I do not want to get rid of our single family housing. I want to retain that, but allow some flexibility. So we want to allow for accessory dwelling units, detached accessory dwelling units, and maybe some duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, and just kind of bring it up one stage. And then keep a lot of our multifamily growth out by the mall and by the transit center, so that we're retaining both. We've got the best of many worlds in Lynnwood, depending on how people want to live and grow their family.
Thank you.
All right, the next question I have is, what ideas do you have for addressing the city's homelessness issue?
Number one is people aren't homeless because they just, grew up thinking, gee, I'd like to be homeless one day. There's brokenness in family relationships, in social relationships, in jobs, in education. We need to provide opportunities for people to change their going forward. We can't change the past, but we can help them going forward. One of the nonprofits that I'm a part of is called the Gene Kim Foundation. And what we've done through the foundation is we have 6 individual housing units. And when people who have lived on the streets want to go back to school, want to better their education, want to get job skills, we agree to house them. And it doesn't cost them anything. And we house them and then they go to school. And when we first started this back, 5-6 years ago, I thought, great, that's all we got to do is provide a roof over people's heads. But what we found out is that people need more than a roof over their head. If someone has been homeless for as little as 6 to 8 weeks, they've already started down the path of mental illness. They've already started down the path of protecting themselves in ways that they never thought they'd have to before. They start having behaviors that aren't productive in our society. We need to get them help, and we need to forge relationships. So again, with the Gene Kim Foundation, we've been running the Hygiene Center, and we've been allowing homeless folks to come there and get a shower. In the first year we were open, we had 8,000 showers through there. And we're building a relationship. Everybody who works at the showers, they've been homeless. They are homeless, some of them, but we're giving them an opportunity. And we need more organizations, more nonprofit groups that are willing to say, I will come beside you. I'm not going to kick you, off the streets and into rehab that you don't necessarily want right now, but we're going to form relationships, and we're going to bring in counselors. We're going to bring in social workers. We're going to help you see yourself in a different light. And it's going to take time. In the meantime, perhaps we can set up more shelter areas. We call it Shepherd's Village. And it's been a great model, but you can't do it without the helps.
Thank you very much.
How would you help businesses that have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic?
I am so thankful for businesses that have decided to grow their businesses in the city of Lynnwood, that many times, myself as a small business owner, as an accountant for many small businesses, they give their heart, their soul, their money, their family time to create a different source of income for themselves. And we need to come around them and help them with that. I suggested back in January that we have a small business roundtable, and our council leadership said, well, that's great, but we can't do anything about it for a few months. So then we did it in March, and we heard a lot of things, and now we're waiting on a survey to tell us what people are thinking. I think we need to get out there right now. We need to change signage ordinances. We need to celebrate our small businesses. An idea I haven't run through the mayor's office is, what about if we take a day at the convention center and small businesses can come and have a booth, and we can talk about their businesses and we can invite the public in. Another thing we can do is a lot of people get together over food and music, maybe have some festivals in our parks. So we start to get to know our small businesses. I go to a wonderful Thai place. In fact, I went there tonight before I came, and I don't know the owners, but they see me in there 2 or 3 times a month. we need to go a little further and let our small businesses know that they are important. So I want to partner with the Chamber of Commerce, and I want to partner with our DBS development folks, and I want to listen to what businesses say they need. I mean, I think they need this, that, and the other thing, but maybe they've got much better ideas about what they need than what I think they do. So a lot of listening.
Thank you very much.
Right. Do you have ideas for better engaging residents who have not traditionally been involved in city government?
I got to tell you, we spent a lot of time over the last 3.5 years that I've been on council going, how do we get people to our business meetings? How do we get people to engage? Quite honestly, the only time people engage, maybe not only, but 90%, is when they're ticked off about something. They don't come because we're such wonderful entertainment. They come because they have issues. And so again, for my campaign, I do a lot of door knocking. I hear a lot from people as to what's going on in their own neighborhoods. It is time consuming. And I'm not sure that that's a great way either. I talked to a couple, I actually spent 45 minutes at their home the other night, just trying to answer their questions. And where do you get your information? You know, we put things out in Lynnwood Today and Lynnwood Times and Inside Lynnwood and our website and our Facebook, and people still say they're not informed. I'm out of ideas. We even put leaflets in the utility bills, hoping that that would spur people. We try to go to the activities in the park and just connect with people and say, hey, I'm your city council person. Is there anything going on that you'd like to talk about? It is hard. And I've talked with some cohorts on other city councils, and nobody's got anything magic, you know. I thought, well, maybe we could do some type of a giveaway, or we could, you know, draw tickets or something and entice people to come. But really, our meetings, they're just meetings. And for 3 years before I was on council, I was at every Monday night business meeting. But I'm the odd duck, so what can I say? I found them not entertaining, but educational and inspirational quite often. So I don't have a good answer. All of that to say, I don't have any more good answers. Nothing seems to really be drawing people in.
Fair enough. All right. Thank you.
Name the top challenge you see for Lynnwood in the next 5 years, and as mayor, how would you address it?
Our top challenge is sound transit and all the growth that comes with it. What we see right now with sound transit, we see a lot of building. We see high rises coming in. We see a new Home Depot. We see new multifamily. And what people need to know is those didn't just happen in the last 18 months. Those have been in process for decades with sound transit. The new community transit rail or bus lines, they didn't just happen. Those have been in process for a long time. So what I think we're going to see in the next 5 years is a lot of building, a lot of growth. What we need to be preparing for during that time is the 5 years after that. And does that mean driverless cars? Does it mean greener systems for how we heat and cool our homes and our buildings? Does that mean new ways of not commuting, but staying at home and using Zoom, which is pretty good most of the time? So the next 5 years, I think, is just going to be build, 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 and wait, you know, and people will come. But the 5 years after that, we've got to spend time now getting ready for some of those other ideas.
Thank you.
Mhm.
As mayor, how would you address concerns from marginalized populations who might not feel safe living in Lynnwood?
We have a sticker that we have around the city, and I have a stack of my own, and it says all are welcome. And it doesn't just say that in English. It says it in 12 other languages. I feel very safe in Lynnwood. I grew up in Lynnwood. My kids went to the same schools that I went to. I feel like I've walked the streets of Lynnwood enough, a lot because of campaigning and door knocking. I feel safe in 80% of Lynnwood. I feel safe physically. I feel safe emotionally. I feel physically safe. And in my head, I don't have any concerns. But I have heard from so many people that don't feel safe. And they come from different cultures and they come from different experiences. Our police department has been great in having coffee with a cop. They've been great at reaching out to our community once a year at an event, Cops and Kids at the Alderwood Mall. We need to take the time to connect with people. And as I've said before, it takes time. We need community leaders from various cultures to be engaged and taking the message back. And I know our police department has had neighborhood folks come and meet with them on a regular basis. And going back to the community, we need to build bridges. And we have grown with our diversity very rapidly. Just a few short years ago, when I was in high school, well, maybe more than a few, there was one person of color in my whole high school. And by the time that my kids went to Meadowdale High School, probably 50% of the kids were from different cultures. And we need to be embracing that. Again, I think it would work to have community festivals with food and music, because I think that's something we can all bond over and get comfortable with, and then we can have those deeper conversations. I don't think deep conversations come from sitting around a table for the first time, second time, third time. Teresa, a few years ago, you had a series of events about conversations and staying in the tough conversations. And I think that would be great to bring back on a bigger scale. We need to learn how to talk to one another. And we do that first by listening to each other. So we need to create more opportunities to listen to one another. And right now, the only ideas I've been coming up with are some community events where we can mingle and talk to one another. And COVID has put us back, not just 18 months. I think it's put us back a few years and being able to build those bridges with our community.
Yeah, thank you.
Pretend you are talking to a business owner who is considering relocating their business to Lynnwood. Give us your 30-second sales pitch for why the city is a good place for business.
Lynnwood is growing by leaps and bounds. Lynnwood is embracing people of many different cultures. We have this great Chamber of Commerce to get involved with that knows businesses and knows how to interact with businesses. We have a business development service within City Hall that can reach out and help you get connected. We want to partner with businesses. We want to see businesses grow. I think that wanting it and doing it takes a lot of work, but give us a shot and we can connect you with other people who have been successful in Lynnwood. And I think you'd be very happy to locate here and watch your business grow in Lynnwood.
Thank you very much.
All right, now we've come to the portion where you get to tell voters why they should vote for you.
Voters should vote for me because I am collaborative. First and foremost, I don't come to council or to any meeting with one idea or one side of an idea. I want to hear all the different sides. I am not the smartest person in the room. Other people have really amazing ideas. The staff that we have with the city of Lynnwood are some of the best and brightest people I've worked with. I've been involved in the new strategic plan, and the ideas that people who are younger than me bring to the table just blow my socks off. We need to be collaborating with one another and not being a general in charge of an army, but we are team players. But as mayor, I have the leadership skills. I have the skills to help people work together to get to put those bright ideas into practice. I have 4 years on city council plus the 3 years I sat in the gallery of watching how council members work together and some of the pitfalls and some of the really high points of getting things done. I'm very concerned with housing. Everybody who chooses to live in Lynnwood, whether they live in a mega mansion or they live in a modest home or an apartment or in the woods, they are all our neighbors. And we have to figure out how we can best serve them. And the other issue is safety. We have a community justice center that we're getting ready to dig the first scoop of dirt on sometime in the next few months. That community justice center is not just to jail people. It's got a whole new concept. And I was very honored to go to Community Health Center with Chief Nelson and then Chief Tom Davis and ask them to partner. There are exciting things going on in Lynnwood, but it takes somebody who's ready to embrace that excitement and ready to look at not one side, two side, four sides, but all the variety of sides of issues and concepts and plans, and then marshal people to make things happen in Lynnwood. I love Lynnwood. I grew up here. I didn't know anything about Lynnwood 10 years ago or so, except we had a mall and we had red light cameras. But in the last 10 years, I have jumped into the deep end of the pool. And not just the pool of Lynnwood, but I was also a fire commissioner for 2 years, which just brought a whole new thought process to the first responders of ours that have such compassion when working with people. I will make a great mayor because I love Lynnwood. And I think everyone that chooses to live in Lynnwood should feel the same safety, the same responsibility to our city that I do. And lastly, I want Lynnwood to be better because my kids are going to live here. Perhaps if we have grandkids someday, they will live here too. But you know what? Somebody reached out and made Lynnwood something big for me. And I want to make it something big for the next generation, that they will feel that this is where they want to raise their kids as well.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time out because I know how busy you are.